I was gonna say, what the fuck, dude?
It's okay.
What the fuck? You'd think this show was fucking run by a fucking streamer or something. Jesus Christ.
All right, so that narrative as to why Mark was cursing is because, I forgot to change the video out for the intro. I forgot I changed some intro or some information in the intro, but I forgot to change the video. Whoops.
Well,
I mean, I've been trying to figure out how to get this Facebook thing going on, so that was more or less my focus. So I forgot shit. But, yes, hey everybody, this is Fight Club Hubs, and welcome to another episode of GVN Live. We are now live on both Twitch and Facebook streaming. So, I'd like to introduce everybody today. I have Celadon, I have Mr. MPI, and then, of course, I got that wonderful fucking ball of joy right there, Mark. So, how's everybody doing? Don't everybody go at once.
I'm fine. Did you change the format for the things where it's like in a corner now instead of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can fill up with, just make it look more evenly and, make it look nice. I did this the last time we had Spencer on the show. I'm surprised you just noticed it now.
Usually I just open the text and I don't look at the video because like the video is, several seconds behind for me, so there's no benefit to me watching the video.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But today I just happen to look and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Yep. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's good to see you guys. So on today's episode of GVN Live, we are going to talk about some, more lighthearted things before we get into something, a little bit more grisly and not as fun. Although we're going to try and have as much fun as we can by shitting on, assholes.
Terrible things, yes.
And thank you, Mallet Editor, for the follow. The first couple things we'll talk about, of course. What's that?
I love that follow alert. The Crash Bandicoot. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first couple things we're going to talk about, Sega made an announcement today, and I think this is probably a hell of a lot of a bigger of an announcement than their fucking Game Gear Mini. It's the Astrocity Mini Arcade Unit, which looks, in my opinion, kind of dope. But we'll touch on that in a little bit. And the other thing we're gonna probably shit on is the new Atari trying to pimp out the Atari CVS again, or VCS, or whatever the hell it's called, by opening pre-orders. So we're going to touch on that, and then we're going to be talking about stuff that's been going on for the last couple of weeks, blowing up all over, social media, the fighting game community scandal, having a Me Too movement, and so many names called out, including one of the highest names you can get in the FGC, and we will touch on that in a little bit. But before we do any of that, let's go ahead and say hello to the panel, which I already did say hello, but what have you guys been up to, Jan?
Stuff.
And things?
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome.
No,
I love stuff and things.
Stuff and things, yeah. So, no, I actually just recently hit a couple of, big milestones on my channel recently, which I honestly never thought I would ever get. So
what's the magic number?
Happened. I broke 400 followers and
Yay!
20 subs. So
wait,
that was kind of crazy for me.
How many subs did you say?
I'm at 21 now.
Nice.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
Congrats.
Yeah. So that actually unlocks a second emote slot for my channel too, which is kind of crazy because I never thought that'd be a thing I'd have to deal with. So I'm working on getting a second one, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, it's been pretty good. I debuted 5 months ago at this point, and the growth has been pretty explosive. So I have a lot of people to thank for that. Just within the V2B community as a baseline. What, kid?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I hear you. I know, they hear you too. It's okay. But, other than that, it's pretty much just, sticking to the schedule has been kind of nice. It's last week was a little rough just because of the whole I got diagnosed with COVID thing. That was 2 weeks ago. But anyway, but yeah, like I've been getting a lot better, and things have been kind of picking back up again. So it's been nice. It's been real nice. Just kind of getting to that point where having more than like 2 people in my chat at the same time is a little bit more than I'm used to. So
Yeah.
That's good. So, all right. So moving on. Hey, Spencer, what have you been up to, buddy? Haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Not too much, really. We started the vampire campaign with Mark and the rest of our crew, which has been super fun. It's been different and a little challenging to learn how to do all of that all that live and on the fly.
I do
Other
want to
than that-
say I've noticed that Mark is an extremely aggressive dungeon master.
I don't think that's true.
I don't know.
I
None of
feel
us are
like-
dead yet, so we could have all been dead by now, but he has spared us. So
I
far,
think
so
he's
I
being
appreciate
merciful.
that. Yeah.
I just think you're a dumb butthead, MPI. No, MPI is also a dumb butthead. But
Wow.
I think you're just a dumb butthead, Hubs.
Oh well.
Dude, I was on his side, and I get called out even then.
I know,
Wow.
Spence. I think you might need a new DM. Hey Jan, you interested?
oh no.
It's cold. But yeah,
Nobody
I mean,
likes DMing but me.
Yeah,
I like DM.
My
World
job,
of
my job is
Dark-
safe. How do you
I
not
like
like World of
DM.
Darkness?
No, I don't like DMing World of Darkness.
Oh,
I mean, I will if I have to, but like the last time I played was like when I had an amalgamation game that had 2 vampires, 2 werewolves, a wraith, and 3 mages, and I was like, I'm going to kill myself now. This is awful.
yeah. I refuse to do amalgamated games. It's way too many systems to deal with at one time. Y'all are gonna be vampires. Shut the fuck up and deal with it.
But I want to
fine
be
with
a
me.
werewolf.
So go fucking play werewolf with some asshole online.
There you go.
But there aren't
Name's
enough
probably Mark.
assholes. I seem to be the only one.
No, actually, I have a werewolf campaign going right now as well.
Oh, cool. All right.
We don't record or stream or anything though.
And he's an asshole. So, you know.
So
Yep.
what? So what?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So what else have you been up to, Spence? Besides this awesome campaign that I tune in from time to time between you and Mark.
That's been a good majority of it, really. Obviously, with all of COVID and stuff going on, I haven't been able to do like a portion of my my job. So I've been doing just a bunch of like stuff around the house that always gets put off. You know, like I always have a reason to not do some housework or some yard work or something. But now I have no excuse because there's nothing else to do.
I mean, yeah. So that's a thing. Moving on to Mark now. So, Mr. B writing, what have you been up to, sir?
I'm eating a croissant.
Awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so the first topic of the
Kind
night. Nothing. You haven't been. Well, I mean, you've been streaming off and on the past couple of Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah, I 2 weeks ago I streamed Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines again, and we'll probably pick that up again this week, hopefully. Last weekend I streamed a bit of Tower Unite, just a a casual stream playing with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, been working on the Vampire campaign for MPI and crew, many of whom are in the chat right now. Rab, Sodomi, Mallet Editor. I don't know where the hell Stairbender is. He's a piece of shit. Anyway.
Actually, there he is.
Hi,
I don't know.
Stairbender.
He said something in our group chat, and then like he that's it. So I don't know. Whatever. Fuck him. Anyway. But yeah, I'm also working on a werewolf campaign that I'm playing with a bunch of other people. Some of those same people, but also different ones. And beyond that, like I've been playing Mary Skelter on the Switch a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, really.
Wow. Didn't you play that also like on Steam like 4 years ago though?
Vita, and
on the Vita.
yeah, but not very much of it at the time. The way that they have it set up is if you buy the Switch version of Mary Skelter 2, it comes with Mary Skelter 1, but it's recommended that you play Mary Skelter 2 first and then play Mary Skelter 1, and I'm just like, oh.
Why is the
Okay.
second one a
what?
prequel or something?
The second one is both a prequel and some sort of weird alternate dimensional version that actually unlocks an additional ending in the first game.
Oh, like Danganronpa 3. Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
Wow, that's a
Okay.
lot of forced gameplay right there just for a little bit of content.
I mean,
Well, yeah, but
D&D does it with modules, so what's to stop them from doing it in dungeon crawler games?
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different there.
Okay. For me, I've actually got around to finally beating Sakura Wars, and I actually enjoyed it. I got all the girls to the highest level I could possibly get on, well, the staircase, the lowest level possible. Whatever. I did go with default Sakura as the waifu of choice. I did save my game. I was thinking about going back and possibly getting all the endings. And then I realized from that point it takes almost 3 hours to beat the game. That includes, the epilogue ending. So I said, fuck that, and watched the rest of the endings on YouTube.
As you do.
Yeah.
But honestly, yeah, I was kind of worried. Like, you said you weren't really digging into the game that much, Mark. But I have to say, if you stick with it, you would really enjoy it. It does follow quite a lot of anime tropes, but I really enjoyed it regardless. And now I'm going to go back and finish watching the anime. And then I finally started playing Trials of Mana Remake, and I fucking love it. I'm already 6 hours deep into the game, fucking blitzing through this game. I'm on a roll. I want to beat more games this year than I have in the last couple of years, and I haven't been beating that many games. So, see if I can beat 5 games this year. Let's see if I can do that. I think that's possible, right? Yeah, mini goals. Woo! Also, I've been doing a lot of, Virtua Fighter tournaments. There's this, Virtua Fighter revival that's going on. There's been talk about possibly Sega wanting to do something with us. Arturo's looking to do something with the Virtua Fighter community for a kind of regional online tournament. I don't have that much info, but I've talked to a few people who says something is definitely in the works. It's being streamlined by Adam Yuki, if anybody's familiar with him. I've been doing bi-weeklies for the PlayStation 3 version. And my friend Virtual Kazama has been doing the 360 version of the game. However, he can't do the next one, so I'll be running the next 2 in a row. So that's something to look forward to for Sunday streams. If you hit the Discord button, you can get all the information you need for these bi-weekly Virtua Fighter tournaments. So why not hop on and enjoy the revival? So with that, though, we are going to move on to our first topic of conversation tonight. And that is the Atari VCS. So, this is that little piece of vaporware that just doesn't want to go away. It couldn't disappear like the Phantom. It couldn't disappear like the ColecoVision Chameleon. No, this thing just keeps popping back up every 4 or 5 months. Hey, look, we exist. Pre-order now. Pre-order now. And that's literally what they do. And now there's pre-orders online for the VCS through GameStop. And GameStop is offering a $10 off coupon for pre-ordering this $380 bundle system that you get 100 free games from of classic Atari games. And they're saying it's going to now come with a digital distribution platform for a bunch of new games, as well as TV and movie to watch. I call bullshit. Who else calls bullshit? Anybody? No?
Oh, you had 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Pretty much.
I mean, the Oya at least wasn't $400 frickin' dollars.
And
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, for vaporware, at least the Oya had promise too. Like, they literally went in, and as much as they botched it because they had pretty much outdated hardware the minute it launched, they did have a plan going into running this system. The Atari VCS doesn't know what the hell it wants to be. It's like, oh, we're a modern console, but we play classic games. And look, we made it look like a classic console, because you're old and you like old things, right?
I feel like the problem is that like it's not just that, but they're trying really, really hard to be Apple, and they're really, really bad at it.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I mean, like, think about what they're trying to do with Apple Arcade. Like, that's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to make an Apple TV like competition device,
mhm.
and I really don't think that that's intelligent. I feel like if you're gonna release a retro console at like $100 price point with like the possibility of like firmware upgrades down the line, you've got a lot of people sold. But you were like, we're gonna sell it for 400 and try to be like Apple, but it's also got retro Atari games on it because Atari. Who remembers Atari? It's like that whole fucking thing from The Simpsons where like Alf's back, but in Pog form.
Oh, and on top of that, not just the fact that they're trying to run off the Atari nostalgia hardcore, they're also saying now, hey, not just getting those firmware updates with your system. Hey, you can install whatever operating system you want on there. You want to put Linux on there or Windows on there? You can make it a PC. Who the fuck wants to do that? This isn't the PS3.
Yeah, but you can put Chrome OS on it. That's kind of cool, right?
I mean, Chrome OS, yay!
Yeah. What? How about I put Steam OS on there? I'll probably have more games to play.
Wait, that's still a thing?
Mhm.
Yes.
It's also an option
Oh.
that you can put on there.
Oh.
Ooh. I mean, let's be honest though. It would be a hell of a lot cheaper, and it's probably almost as powerful as those Steam machines that they were selling at 1.2.
I think that's the whole point. Like, the concept behind what they're trying to do with this is just going in way too many directions right now, and I just don't agree with like the marketing concept behind it. I feel like at a baseline, if you were smart enough about how this console itself could actually function, if you were really trying to be like, hey, guess what? Atari's back and we're making a hardware piece, and it's gonna be like not just a retro console, but it's going to be, you know, a modern day cloud gaming device, you know, we're gonna throw 120, 100, and maybe $150 price tag on it because, you know, obviously you're gonna get some normal peripherals with it also, which makes it a little bit more digestible because you're buying the system and a controller or two. I don't understand the weird red nub on the modern controller, but hey, whatever. If you want to be weird ass reverse Nintendo, by all means, keep trying harder because like it's just not really working very well for you. But like there's this whole concept idea of like we want to do retro, but we also want to be modern, and it's like you can really only Frankenstein so much bullshit into the hardware before everyone kind of looks at it and goes, "Why did I bother?" I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think they're just trying to go in so many different fucking directions that it's just not going to work.
And I think the only good that'll come of this is if the guy that's in charge of Atari now sells Atari off at some point and decides to start another Chuck E. Cheese chain and gets them out of bankruptcy. No? Bad joke? Okay. Moving on. So Spencer, does the Atari VCS interest you at all? I mean, you were a hip young kid at some point, right? I'm sure you like the nostalgia thing in an ironic way.
I mean,
Wow.
if it was just the games, maybe at a reasonable price point, it might be more interesting. Like, you know, I mean, we had all of the Nintendo consoles, the PlayStation. Everyone's kind of done it, and everyone loves to go back and play, you know, the games from their childhood or the first games they played. But, you know, for $380 with some games on it and whatever else it's doing,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's I don't know. It just doesn't draw me in at that point, you know? Like, the first games that I played were on an Atari because my dad had one, and he said, hey, you should try this. And I said, this is awesome. And that's kind of where I'd start, like, played a lot of video games. And I still have that Atari, but being able to play it, you know, on a modern TV without needing to go through adapters or deal with, you know, all the old cartridges versus everything just being digital is great. And that's maybe where it should have stopped. I don't feel like I need another box that gives me Netflix. I don't need another box with Hulu on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything, my TV has that built in. We watched Microsoft lean heavily into that, and everyone hated it. And now they kind of want to lean into that again with a much smaller, you know, box and kind of a smaller, I don't want to say smaller name, but you know, it's not the next console. It's old games on a just more modern console, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see this selling much of anything for $380.
All right,
Like,
so for
ugh.
the upcoming intense battle between the industry giants Atari and Intellivision, who do you think's going to reign supreme, Mark? The VCS or the Amico?
Let them fight. GIF.
Yep.
Yeah, like I'll be 100% honest. They're both gonna fucking sink to the bottom of the ocean. Like they've got a fucking lead fail tied to their fucking ankles. But, like here's my thing. I guess I don't care. I appreciated the Intellivision for what it was when I was a kid. I appreciated the Atari 2600 for what it was when I was a kid. I absolutely don't need either of these brands to attempt to resurrect themselves, especially not for the grotesquely large amount of money that they're charging at this point. It'd be one thing if you wanted to release a retro console where it was like, listen, give us $100 and we'll put 100 games on it, and like you can just play them on your TV. That's a completely reasonable way to try and make some money off of the stuff that you have already developed in the year of our Lord 2020. But when you are attempting to make some sort of actual modern day console for this, my question inevitably is always, who are you marketing this to? Do you think that there are people who are going to want to spend $400 on this thing when they could literally have a PlayStation 4 for that? What's the selling point here? Oh, well, you get 100 Atari 2600 games. Who cares?
Hell,
Who wants
forget
to
about
play
spending it on a
boxing
PlayStation
again?
4. Put that money towards probably a PS4 or a PS5.
Yeah, like okay, there's Atari 2600 games on it. Great. Like, who wants to have boxing again? Who wants to have the Atari 2600 version of Breakout or Centipede? The Atari 2600 version of the most popular games that you are aware of are the most terrible possible versions of those games. The Atari 2600 version of Pac-Man is atrocious. The Atari 2600 version of Missile Command is atrocious. The Atari 2600 version of Centipede is atrocious. They all look like butt. There's maybe 5 Atari 2600 games you would want to play in this day and age, and you could probably find them available in some type of a compilation, and you wouldn't have to spend $400 frickin' on it to get basically a slightly more technologically advanced Raspberry Pi with its own knockoff Xbox brand frickin' controller. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. There's no benefit to it. It's a waste of money. I could not possibly care any less.
All right.
If the controller would be compatible with PC, I'd give it a shot. But other than that, I really just don't give a fuck.
Which controller? The old school
Pro.
arcade stick or the Pro controller?
No, the new one. The new one.
I could find 100. I could find 100 different knockoffs of that Atari arcade stick
for sure.
on Amazon for $5. Get out of here.
I mean, it reminds me a lot of the new Astro Pad actually that came out recently. I'm like, if any, the modular one where you can actually like take the faceplate off and like move where your sticks and your buttons and stuff are.
Yeah.
Like that's what it reminds me of. But then it's got this tiny ass Atari ass red button fucking thumbstick nub on the left hand side, and I'm like, hey, Atari, just FYI, Nintendo has a peripheral for the older 3DSs that's the same thing. It's called the Circle Pad Pro. It was needed for a lot of the older Monster Hunter games and some other games that you could use that kind of stuff on. It's way better. You guys need to stop. You need to stop right now.
So anyway, nobody cares about the Atari VCS, and yet there's still people who put tons of money into getting it crowdfunded. What?
Those are the people who
5
care
years
about
ago
it.
now? 5 years
Those
ago?
are the
6
people
years
who-
ago? How long ago was this funded? Like
I don't know.
a while
but
ago.
Those are the people who care.
Yeah, those are the only people who care. Like less than 10,000 people managed to get it funded, I think.
Yeah.
Why?
They want their return. Everyone else doesn't give a shit. This is basically just a cry for nostalgia that just doesn't necessarily need to be answered.
I mean, Nintendo answers everybody's nostalgia every once in a while by releasing either virtual console games on their current gen platform, or they give us an NES and S Mini. I mean,
Right,
that's
but
the way to go
people
about this.
Want that shit. But like people want that shit because that's nostalgia you can't get consistently. I could get a fucking dollar store $10 fucking box of 1,000 Atari 2600 games and be like, "Oh look, I got the VCS, my dudes," and I spent like what, a $5? Okay, good, that's fine, whatever.
Yay!
This is
So is that? I'm curious if these companies had never done things like that, where you could just like buy giant bundles of their games for, the Xbox 360 or whatever. Do you think people would care about these more, or would they still kind of just be like, whatever?
Probably not. Or it has to be spaced out for people to care again. But when you got somebody like Sega who releases bundles of their games literally like every other year, not giving enough people to breathe. Like, what was it? Like a year before the Sega Genesis Mini came out, Sega released like their like 100th compilation of like 40 Genesis games with that mega collection that they released on all platforms, Switch 1 and PS4. Before that, it was Sonic's Ultimate Sega Genesis Collection. Before that, it was Sega's collection. Like they've been doing this like almost every couple of years. To the point where they beat their games into the ground, and like I don't know how they managed to keep getting a return on it. I guess people are really that stupid to buy their games like 20 times. Hey, I need a 10th copy of Sonic the fucking Hedgehog.
I mean,
What if one of the
people
other
are gonna
9
buy it.
stops?
oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure they
exactly.
I
always
mean,
work.
yeah, that is true. I could get disc rot on those Sonic Mega collections on the GameCube.
I don't know. I feel like if look, here's the deal. If you want to like we've talked about it before, like and I know Mark has said the same thing. Like not everybody makes intelligent choices when it comes to these retro consoles. But all I'm saying
Right,
is
Sony?
hey, fucking Sega. Hey Sega. Hey, make me a fucking Sega CD attachment for your fucking Genesis Mini and you'll fucking own me forever. Like that's
Yeah.
all you gotta know.
Give
Like-
me fucking Snatcher. Give me fucking Dark Wizard.
Yeah.
Pay whoever you got to give me the first 2 fucking Lunars. I don't
Yep.
give a fuck. I will
I would
suck
buy
your
that in a
virtual
heartbeat.
dick for like the next couple of years easily.
Absolutely.
That's the way it goes.
You want intelligent decisions? You bring out a fucking retro Sega CD that attaches to the Genesis Mini for like $50, and people will eat that shit up like fucking candy.
And then Sega shoots
Not-
themselves in the foot with a 32X attachment.
I mean, I don't really think that matters. Like, it's just an attachment. It doesn't have any of the actual games on it because no one's ever gonna buy that.
That is true. Just a $90 paperweight to go on top of your Genesis mini collection.
Eh.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Sega, they made an amazing announcement today. Because, we're all about those mini consoles and retro consoles. Sega's decided to, alongside with their Game Gear Mini release now, which I think is actually more exciting, their Astrocity Mini Arcade device, which actually looks a lot more cool than the Game Gear Mini,
The Game Gear Minis look like Pez dispensers or like candy boxes, honestly. Like, if you know anything about anything in Japan, that basically is what those look like.
They look
you
like
could flip
keychain
open the side and
attachments.
pull gum out of it. No, they look like gum dispensers. Like, you just flip open the side and pull out a stick of gum.
Yeah.
They look like trash.
And
so
the Game Gear Mini in a sense is a joke. It's like the equivalent price is like $90 for one of 4 varieties with only 4 games on it. Whoop de fucking do. But instead, they are announcing this Astrocity arcade, which looks like they're Japanese arcade cabinets, which are insanely popular. And it's going to come with 36 arcade classics. Now, only 8 of which have been announced. I mean, you got Altered Beast, Virtua Fighter, pretty much the first Golden Axe, and its arcade-only sequel, The Revenge of Death Adder, which to me is already the immediate buying point of this thing. I'm sure they'll reveal what the other, 20 games are at a later date, but right now I'm kind of fascinated by this because, one, it looks like the little Neo Geo AES arcade unit. It's like a little mini arcade that you sit there, do whatever with
it's an Astrocab.
Yeah, it's an Astrocab. But at the same time, you can connect an HDMI cable to it and plug it into a TV, and it does have 2 USB ports, so you can plug in an arcade stick or a USB gamepad and play multiplayer games with it. And I'm down with that. I'm actually kind of excited. The problem now is the price point. You've got arcade mini systems like the Genesis Mini, which is $90, comes with almost 40 games. You've got the TurboGrafx 16 Mini PC Engine that comes with 50 games a piece, 50 plus games. Because everybody's been finding all these hidden games that are locked within the mini system, and they're going for relatively under $100. $70 to $100 is the range of all these mini devices. Sega wants to charge you $120 equivalently $120 for 36 arcade hits. Spencer, is this something you're interested in?
I mean, I don't think it quite hits for me because honestly, I never played any of these games. I never had a Sega. It was just one of the things that I never really had growing up. So it doesn't really hit anything for me.
So you weren't a fan of classic Sega arcade games like System 32, System 16 games like Afterburner and all that?
The only arcade we had around here was not an arcade. It was a ticket machine games. That was all we had for a long time. So I didn't get to play almost any old games other than I had Atari, and Nintendo was kind of the thing for me until PlayStation came out. So I think this just doesn't hit much for me, which doesn't mean it's a bad device. It just I may not be the target audience for it. But I mean, like you're saying, $120 for 36 games versus these other consoles that are going to come out cheaper with more games. It's kind of a tough sell unless one of these games or all of these games are particularly what you want. Does it use any USB controller, or is it only the one that you can buy from them?
I don't think they specified having to buy one, but I think you can use it, so it might be kind of like a PS3, PS4 scenario where you can just plug almost any USB device into it and it should work universally.
Okay.
Yeah, my understanding is that it's a USB micro. It's got double USB micro and then an HDMI mini for output.
Oh. So then it might have specified controllers.
No, I don't think so. The USB micros are it's like what you plug into your PS4 controller or your Xbox One controller. It's USB like that. I don't think it's
like USB A or USB C
itself. If that's on the mini itself,
yeah. So the back of the device opens up, and from what I understand is that the back of the device opens up, and inside there's an HDMI mini for your television output. So you go mini to normal, and you can plug it into your TV for video. And then it's got 2 individual USB micro, so it's USB A micro, which is what you use not USB C, which is obviously more prevalent now with like phones and stuff, but it's still like what you would use to plug in your like PlayStation like 3 or 4 controller, or like your Xbox One controller into like your computer. It's the same kind of a connection. So my understanding is that the controllers themselves can be fairly universal. You'll just have to get something that converts down to the micro to plug into the back of the machine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about you, Mark? I know you said some comments about it before the show started, but I'm sure the world would love to know what you think.
So here's my thing. I am old enough, as you are, to where if the selection of games were legitimately good and interesting, I would probably be sold on the idea of paying money for a $120 arcade cabinet miniature diddly-do just because of the fact that they had available all of this neat stuff that I couldn't get otherwise.
Right.
And here's the thing. I'm looking at this and just what they've announced so far. Yeah, it's not doing it for me. It absolutely isn't. Like, okay. There's definitely going to be some changes if they do ultimately end up bringing this to the US, because some of these games are not things that were games that came out in the US much or at all. And some of this is stuff that's decidedly going to appeal to, you know, extremely the hardest of the hardcore type deals. Dark Edge, I think, would be neat because it's not a game that's in heavy distribution everywhere. So if that were incorporated, maybe, like I'd say maybe. It wasn't a game that a lot of people got a chance to play. Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder, it's very rare to find that in a compilation in general. So again, that's a neat thing for them to include. Everything else here, I kind of don't give a shit about.
Yeah, most of it's all pretty much Sega Ages or re-releases again, which we kind of expected.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I wouldn't be surprised if Space Harrier ended up on here.
Yeah, like here's the thing, like, fuck off with the original Golden Axe. That's available goddamn everywhere. I don't need it again. Fantasy Zone, like, I like Fantasy Zone okay, but again, it's available fucking everywhere at this point. Altered Beast. Fuck Altered Beast. Sega, stop giving us Altered Beast. What is that thing, 5 megabytes? You could fucking put that on a fucking watch at this point. Get it the fuck out of here. This is like their fucking obsession with putting Flicky on shit.
Oh, God.
Nobody wants to play more fucking Altered Beast. If Altered Beast were popular, you would have been able to make more than one of them and sell it in the United States. You didn't, because it's not. Fuck off. Stop releasing it. Jesus Christ. Like, at least Golden Axe was good.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see, you know, some more System 32 games brought over. Like, I really want to see a really good, like, port or the perfect arcade version of, like, you know, Thunder Force or what's that other one here? I'm looking at these arcade games that I'm trying to remember. Galaxy Force 1 and 2. I would love to see those, like, sprite scaling based games that Sega made a lot of great ones of for the come to the system. So, you know, I mean, Galaxy Force, I think, got ported to the Genesis, but it looks like absolute dog shit. So I would love to see some of these amazing games, you know, get brought over too, and that might increase the value and maybe make me interested in buying this thing. But I mean, please, Sega, stop giving us games that we've seen re-released 100 times. Like Mark was just complaining about, like Altered Beast, or what was the one I just said 5 minutes ago? Jesus Christ, Space Harrier. Like, we don't need that game. You've literally released that game at least twice every console generation.
Like, I'll say this, you know, Alien Syndrome is a fine inclusion. You don't see that in a lot of compilations. The only place I've really seen that is the remade version of it that they did in Sega Ages, which sucks and is lame. So, at the very least, that's, like, kind of a novelty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Columns 2, I guess you got to get a Columns game in there somewhere. Fine, whatever. But it's yeah, like, at least give me more stuff that you own that I have never played. Give me like Sonic the Fighters, you know. Give me Last Bronx
Or Sega
give
Sonic,
Me,
for that matter.
Shit.
yeah, you know, give me shit that you've released in the arcade that I haven't had a chance to play much.
Mhm.
Altered Beast can fucking take a sugar frosted fuck off the end of my dick.
Wow. Woo. Okay.
I don't want to fucking play it again. I don't
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking play it again. The arcade version looks great, but it's a dumb bad game, and I don't want to play it.
All right. So, final thoughts on the system going around the house, though. So, Jan, what are your final thoughts?
Okay, so here's the thing. The original developed version of the Astrocity cab came out in 1993. If you really think about what it is that you could do with this machine, a lot of it really harkens back to what a lot of people think of when you think of arcades in Japan. This is a very, very popular cabinet system. It's been upgraded to hell and back through the last couple of decades. And there's a ton of fucking games for these machines that I feel like would be a huge deal if you could actually get the licensing for, or could actually legitimately think that you could put onto this machine. There are a ton of Astrocity cabs that exist. And just having the ability to have the machine, obviously we're looking at, you know, Sega proprietary, but there's always a possibility of getting additional games on there. There are probably, you know, hundreds of games that you could put onto this machine and it'd sell. Not just because well, two things. One, you're paying the high dollar amount because you're buying Sega branded Astrocity device. Looks like an actual Astro cab, like an Astro 1 cab. That's part of the buy price. Like, that's just all there is to it. If it wasn't that, if it was just like a brick with a pie, it'd be like $50. But at the baseline, you're spending the money you are because of what you're buying. You're buying a piece of Sega arcade history, I guess, because it's, you know, you're buying an actual miniaturized version of an Astro Cap. For people who like having arcade cabinets, or like the concept of owning an arcade cabinet without having to take up, you know, a corner of your fucking room, this is a buy. Like, because of the look. The problem really becomes, like, what games do you actually put on it? You know, was putting the original Virtua Fighter on this a good idea? You probably could have just put on like 3 and like made a ton of money. Columns 2, okay, I guess that's fine. Revenge of Death Adder, we've talked that one into the ground. We know that's a good buy. Same with Dark Edge.
I wouldn't say Dark Edge is a good buy. I want to be clear about that. It was never particularly good, but it's just unique.
Exactly. But you know what else they could put on here? Like, put the fucking Alien versus Predator fighter on this fucking game.
That's a Capcom game, though.
Doesn't matter. So is the fucking Rockman fighters, but it's an Astro City fucking
It's also, my concern with that is more that it's licensed out to hell and back. It will probably be like $1 bajillion for them to get the license of.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. It's why it wasn't in the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, even though it was originally slated to be. The thing is that, like, if you're smart about it, you don't have to just get Sega specific or like first party specific titles on this machine. You really want this machine to like be something that not just collectors are going to buy. You have to be really smart about it. I mean, like, if you put the original fucking variation of, like, there was a game that came out before it, but it's basically like Ikaruga. You put in like a couple of the really, really popular shumps on
Radiant
this device.
Silvergun?
Yeah, that's the one.
The one that's
Put that
$200
on-
fucking dollars?
yeah, dude, you put that on here and people are going to destroy that fucking machine. Like, people are going to want to buy it because you
Does
just
Treasure
can't
still
get
exist
that
as a
fucking
company?
game. I don't even know who owns Treasure. Let's find out.
Probably Sega.
I mean, that would be
Awesome.
the good guess, but I don't think Treasure exists as a company anymore. I haven't heard anything from them in a while.
Treasure. That's
There are only 16 people left as of 2011. Has not released any games since 2014, apart from re-releases like Ikaruga on Xbox and PlayStation Network. So they haven't done anything. So they're obviously still around, I guess.
Treasure
Somehow.
is still Treasure and is still a company that is owned by themselves. They don't actually have anybody that they're owned by. They are still Treasure. They are their own company, apparently. That's good to know.
They're just in limbo now. That's about it.
Well, I mean, let's be real honest. The last good game they released was Ikaruga. No, let's see here. They
released
a few-
Banga. They released. They had a Bangayo sequel on the Nintendo DS. They had Sin and Punishment for the Wii.
Geist Crusher and Geist Crusher God for the Nintendo 3DS released in 2013 and 2014. Those are the last known games that Treasure has released. But they're also the team that made Gradius 5, Gunstar Heroes, and then other games like Guardian Heroes. I don't know. There's a lot of games that they could definitely release. Like, I mean, irregardless of the fact that they still exist, the point stands that Sega could be really intelligent about the next set of games that they release, and instead of being like, hey guys, remember Sega Ages and the last 5 Sega Genesis collections that we've released? Here's the arcade perfect versions of those games, and everyone's like, fuck you.
Pretty much.
Like we don't fucking care. At this point, the next step is to be intelligent about it. You want somebody who's really into buying Astro City stuff, like who's just all about what the aesthetic of an Astro Cab actually is. You put fucking games that are from that system that are amazing in head-to-head. That's the whole point of the system. That's why the system does what it does. That's why they're short. That's why they're low to the ground. That's why you can stick so many into a fucking room. It's because you could have 10 of them lined up in a row and have them all playing different games, and people will want to fucking play on them because A, they like the feel, and B, they know that the games on those systems are usually really high quality games. Not like high quality, you know what we're talking about though. But like these games are games that people actually want to fucking play, not Altered fucking Beast.
All right, how about you, Mr. Pure Instinct? What are your final thoughts on the Sega Arcade Mini? Spencer?
Me.
Okay.
And I mean, I kind of hate that that's all there is, but I don't really have a lot of feelings one way or the other on it, you know? I mean, it looks cool. I'm sure there's someone that will like it, and I hope if they get it, they're happy with it. But,
Okay. All right, so day one purchase for you, Mark?
Hey, anybody remember the Alien Syndrome game that they made back in 2007 that was like kind of an overhead dungeon crawler and sucked?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I care more about that than I care about this at this point, to be honest. Fucking wake me up when fucking Last Bronx has been announced. Otherwise, I don't give a shit.
All right. Well, so that was a fun couple of topics we had there. I hope everyone's perky and happy and, enjoying the show, because we're about to get fucking serious now. So, over the course of the past 2 weeks, the fighting game community has been pretty much bitch slapped both ways, with tons of people coming out with allegations and accusations of everything from uh, some of the most minor sexual offenses to straight up rape. And we are going to try and be as sensitive as we can as we talk about this subject, not to offend or hurt anybody, including the victims, so bear with us. Over the course of the weeks, we've had, and in terms of fighting game communities, the majority of the communities that have been hit the hardest is the Smash Brothers community. That is pretty much where like 80% of these allegations, accusations are stemming from. Some of the first ones I've read were about 14-year-old boys getting taken advantage of by women in their 20s, drunk. Probably the biggest name to come out of the Smash Brothers community is the top Smash Brothers player, Zero, who is well known for being hated because of his 53 tournament win streak. And he is accused of sending lewd messages to underage to minors. And that is probably the least offensive thing that has been going on. Outside of what I just said about, like, you know, the 14-year-old boy getting taken advantage of by a woman in her 20s. And it culminates all the way up to the man at top the FGC, one known as Joey Coulier of Evo, aka Mr. Wizard, being called out for numerous pedophile-like behavior and taking advantage of minors as far back as 20 years ago and as recently as 3 to 5 years ago, depending on what you read. And he has come out and said that, yeah, he did that stuff. So, Jan, would you like to take over from here about some of your thoughts? Because your eye is twitching. You're not in a good place right now, are you?
Look, all I have to say is, like, I've talked on this subject already because of some issues that occurred within the VTubing community recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fact that this is still, like, a thing is not surprising. The fact that it goes all the way up to, like, the top of Evo is not surprising. The fact that people are still shocked by this behavior is not surprising. There are still plenty of people who think that this is acceptable fucking things, you know, like, while now, again, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate on this, purely just because I feel like we kind of need a little bit of that. While I do not condone,
and because some of these people are definitely the fucking devil.
Oh, absolutely. While I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I do not condone the actions of any of these individuals, because a lot of them have done some very despicable and disgusting things. However, the point is still something that needs to be made, that a lot of what was being done also falls under the purview of hazing, and is very... I don't like to use the word ritualistic as if it's being some sort of cult, but you understand what I mean when I say that what these guys are doing is not okay in any capacity, hazing or otherwise. Hazing is bad enough. The fact that it turns partly sexual for other people, like, yeah, no, thanks. I saw a tweet a couple of days ago after all of these shenaniganry things occurred, basically saying there's another timeline where all of this happened, but the guy is actually openly gay. It wasn't with minors, and he was a positive role model for the fucking, not just the FGC, but gaming in general. And I'm like, damn, that's... that would have been quite the world what we could have lived in, where he could have just come out and said, yeah, no, I'm actually gay, and this is like people that I do these with because it was actually flirting, and these other people were also okay with it, and it was consensual, and yada yada yada. And I'm like, well, that's great and all, and I wish that was actually the case. That isn't, and let me be really clear on this. It's fucking gross. I don't care if it's like even kind of something you think is okay. It's fucking not. Like, hey man, take your whole set of fucking clothes off and do naked jumping jacks for me for 25 seconds, and I'll give you tickets to Evo. Like, excuse me? That's not how this works. Like, that's not okay in any fucking universe. I'm sorry. It's just not okay here. We don't do that with children. But yet, this is the baseline of what people saw as the norm, because person of power, don't fuck with him, you'll get banned from Evo, you'll get banned from this tournament. It's gross. It's just fucking gross. And the fact that you have to have conversations on a regular basis about this kind of conduct really kind of bothers me, because these are the games that I fucking grew up with. These are the games that I love to fucking play. And I feel dirty for even thinking about having these kinds of conversations, because these are the kind of people that make these games that I'm supposed to be able to enjoy without having to worry about that kind of conduct.
Mhm.
And yet, here we are, fucking 2020, the year of our fucking Lord, and guess what? We're still having problematic issues and conversations about pedophilia and dealing with people that just don't get it. And the part that really fucking pisses me off about it, the whole fucking thing, is that there are still some people who are like, oh, but we stand them. How? How do you fucking think that that's okay? Oh, because you're like them. I get it. Oh, you don't target you because you're not actually a pedophile, but you stand pedophilic, like actual pedophilic, like things? No, I'm sorry. That's not how this works. If you stand this and you're okay with their conduct because, let's be honest, they said it was a mistake, no. Fuck you too, buddy. You can take literally every single piece of your entire body and stick it straight up your own anus. Because guess what? You're just as gross. Nobody wants to deal with you. I'm kind of glad you have to be on fucking lockdown on Twitter and social media at this point. Because, yeah, nobody likes you. Cry more. Because you're not coming back from that. There just isn't any coming back from that. People have been removed from those positions of power by the other people in positions of power because they found out that this gross ass shit was going on. People have basically ruined their own careers because they did this shit. And then we're like, oh, but it's kind of still okay, right? No, it's not. It never was then. It isn't now. You're just getting called out on your bullshit. And guess what? It kind of sucks to be you. But yeah, sometimes you learn from your mistakes. Yes, there are people that can be redeemed from specific things if they had told you the fucking truth when they got found out. Yes, I did some gross ass things. Yes, I may have done X or Y. But guess what? You're still a fucking pedophile. So unless you can prove to me, without a shadow of a fucking doubt, that you aren't anymore and haven't been for, I don't know, a long fucking time, you're still a pedo. You're still a creeper. You're still a gross-ass, disgusting individual that I honestly feel should be flushed down the toilet with the rest of the fucking turds. Because goddamn, that's just nasty. You want me to give you a list of the people I want to punch? Guess what? Pedos and Nazis, right at the top of that list. I'm gonna punch every goddamn one of them right square in the middle of their faces, cause fuck those guys. Oh, and like, please don't even get me started on the people that are like, oh, but they were drunk, or oh, they kind of were asking for it. No, that's rape, you fucking idiot. That's also something that you should get punished for. guess what? People get away with that all the goddamn time in this kind of a community because there's so many people not being held accountable. So yes, I'm glad that everyone is finally being held accountable for their actions. Yes, I am so happy that there are that many people that are coming out of the woodwork, because guess what? There's a difference between Me Too and yes, it did happen to me. And I believe the people that say that it happened to them. But Me Too, that's generally attention. And I'm not a big fan of just trying to get attention. So unless you've got concrete evidence and you're not just trying to play along, man, you better be able to prove that to me. Because I've seen what false accusations can do to people. I've watched it happen. I've seen how that torments people and the bad shit that happens to people when they come forward with, yeah, you know what? None of that actually happened. I can't prove it, but it didn't happen. Yeah, no one's going to believe you. Either it happened or it didn't. And if you can't prove one way or the other, we kind of got to go with the story that's there. If we've got physical evidence, we've got to believe you. Sorry, that's just kind of how physical evidence works. Is it false physical evidence? How does that even work? Evidence is evidence. If you could prove it to me, and it's literally a thing that I can touch, then yeah, that's probably a thing that happened. Does that mean that there are people that are lying about a lot of other stuff? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not part of that conversation. But what I do know is that if I've got 10 people with proof telling me that you did all of this, and then you're just going to sit there and tell me, well, I was younger and I wasn't really sure what I was doing. Yeah, well, so were they. And now they have to live with that nightmare every fucking day, and you're just going to discount it? No, that doesn't fly either. So, just... a couple of people on Twitter have said it, and I'm just gonna kind of mimic it. There are a lot of people in positions of power that you can look up to, but please, for the love of God, don't idolize them. Just don't. Because if you idolize somebody and all of a sudden you find out about what's going on, there's more problems than just what's really going on, because now you've become a part of what their problem is. And that's not good.
All right. From what I see in the limelight, I mean, being a part of the FGC for the last 15, well, let's see, back in 2006, when I became a part of the FGC. Actually, when did Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate come out? 2005? Yeah, we'll go with that. 2005, when Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate came out, is when I started becoming a part of the FGC and watching what's been happening. And, you have issues that have popped up every now and then. Like, there's, let's say, not to name names, because I don't know what the outcome was, but this one dude was called out by an ex-girlfriend at a tournament in Central USA about how she was raped by her ex-boyfriend, and the ex-boyfriend was coming out like, "Nah, dude, we were both drunk. She was totally consensual to this," and people were yelling at him on Facebook saying, "No, dude, that was definitely rape." And I don't remember the outcome of this because I unfriended this guy. But that's just one of the rare occasions of when stuff like this actually pops out. The fact that we just had so much come out in the last 2 weeks in regards to these allegations, these accusations, and just this all-around miserable behavior that's just being revealed to us is just absolutely horrifying. And I wish people could do better, but you know what? That's asking way too much. So let's go to you, Spencer. I'd like to get your thoughts on all this.
Well, I'm not really part of the fighting game community. I've just never particularly gotten into them. But being part of, the Twitch community and gaming in general, seeing similar things happening there, it doesn't like Jan said, it doesn't particularly surprise me this is happening in more niche areas like gaming overall. Then we have Twitch, fighting game. It doesn't surprise me these things are happening in more niche areas.
Mm-hmm.
And what Jan said kind of at the end of all of her thoughts was I think you may have even tweeted it or shared it somewhere that I saw it, was not to idolize people that you don't know.
Mhm.
You don't know these people. You don't know your favorite YouTuber, streamer, whatever. They make content, you take it in, you enjoy it, you hang out in their communities, but you don't know who they really, really are most of the time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yes, like people's things, but don't put them so far up on a pedestal that when something like this happens, if it does, that you just kind of go, I don't know, man. I still kind of like I'm on your side. Because like a
Mhm.
perfect example that I don't know what it involves. No one knows what it involves, apparently, is the ridiculousness that's happened with Dr. Disrespect. Nobody knows why he's
Mm.
banned still to this day.
Nope.
And there have been so many people on his Twitter, on all kinds of Reddit threads and things that are like, I don't care what you did. I got your back, man. And I'm like, you don't even know what he did. Like, how are you just going to think, like, you're just going to back him up when...
And this
after
dude
all
has
the
a
other-
history of bad
after
behavior.
all the other shit he did, and then Twitch was finally like, get the fuck out of here. You're just going to be like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, you did some pretty bad
Now
stuff.
we all saw this coming, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But it's like, no one knows why this has happened somehow, which I still don't understand how none of us know, you know, like, what is it, almost 2 weeks later now? I'm surprised nothing's really come out about it, but that's what I've seen happening in every form of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's with Twitch, in gaming, now in the fighting game community with Dr. Disrespect. A little off-ish topic from this, but still on topic, where similar things have been happening is in the like hardcore deathcore community scene of music. The same thing is happening there right now.
Mhm.
A lot of people may not see it because it's not a big thing. You know, it's a pretty niche community. But
Mhm.
the same things are happening, and the same people are doing the same shit there, where they're like, nah, dude, I got your back. It's cool. I don't think you did that. Or even if you did, I don't care because I'm a piece of shit too. So don't fucking do that, man.
Stop listening to racist black metal.
Sorry, my cats are fighting behind me now. They're
Oh.
upset about it too. They're really upset.
Yeah.
Don't fucking idolize people that you don't know.
That goes. The thing about it too is that like, and like, there was another like subpart to that message. You as a streamer, you as a content creator, you as a person of influence in your job, you as a person, it doesn't matter what you do. If you are somebody in a position of power, there is going to be a time where others may do the same to you. You know, where people to say don't idolize others you don't know. There will always be a time where, especially in our environment, in like the FGC, like top contenders, people who stream, like high-end streamers, like people like Dr. Disrespect, people like you know, I'll use the VTubing community because that's a little bit more topical for me, but people like Project Melody, people like Iron Mouse, people like Zentreas, people like those people are top people in the community. Those are the people that, like, you think of VTubing, those are the names that tend to crop up the most right now because they're the ones that are the most in the spotlight. Idolizing them is the same. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. You can't really do that. But as we are also the same as content creators ourselves, there will probably be people who will also idolize us. And it falls to us to be a good example for what we are in our communities to those who do follow us and those who do watch us on a regular basis, to let them know that what it is that's currently going on, what it is that we see around us is not okay, and that you have to find a way and make sure that those in those positions of power who are above us are also just as held accountable as we would be held to the same ideals. And if we can't preach that, that's where the whole system fails, and that's where everything starts to fall apart. And that's where you see all of, and I don't like to use the word drama because I really just don't believe that that's what this is. I believe that this is people being held accountable for others' actions. And that's the important thing, is that you can't say that this is drama when it's real life. There are people that would be, there are people that suffer PTSD from this kind of shit. There are people that suffer from, disorders and problems in their daily lives where they have panic attacks because of all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, I have to do a thing that could also revolve around that other person that caused this trauma. I don't want to do it. No, get me out of here. And then they have a panic attack and they hyperventilate and all these other things that can occur because of that trauma. Like, just, I hate to say it, but like, why do people gotta be such assholes? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand how we've come to this point in our lives where we have to physically restrain ourselves from vomiting because people can't be nice. Like, excuse me?
And the problem with that now is because people can't control themselves and putting other people in danger or at risk, now it puts other people like in higher positions to go out of their way to put in extra measures to take care and protect some of these people, like at their tournaments and stuff like that. Like, it used to be that, like, okay, so as a TO, your only concern is what goes on in the hallway, the exhibition hall where the tournament is taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Do we and whatever happens in the hotel, you got to let the hotel staff and all that stuff deal with that. Like, if people want to misbehave and act like idiots, hotel staff will come in and kick them out. I mean, and people will get upset if, let's say, tournament organizer doesn't get involved. But if a tournament organizer does get involved with, like, the behavior and conduct that goes on in, let's say, the other part of the hotel, suddenly people will bitch and say they're overreaching and for getting involved when it was a matter that was not in, the event itself. So
that's part of the problem, though.
Yeah,
and that's been part of the problem for decades. And I'm not just going to be including FGC in that. I'm going to include conventions as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Conventions, it happens all the time. I mean, how many times have we
Absolutely.
heard about cosplayers being harassed for just dickheads showing up, making comments, touching them, and doing all kinds of stuff?
Right.
Stalking
I mean, that's that
them.
whole cosplay is not consent movement.
Mhm.
Like, that's the same concept. That's all the same concept. As the convention owner, as the people that run the convention, as someone who has run an anime convention herself, okay, like, I've done work for conventions. I've seen the behind the scenes. I know what happens there. I've watched when a convention and it's it's board of employees, people that work the convention. I've watched when dumb shit has gone down and how they just sweep it under the rug. They're like, don't worry about it, the hotel will deal with it. That's a hotel issue. It's on hotel sections. It's not part of the convention. It's nothing we have to get involved with.
Mm-hmm.
Only to find out 20 minutes later that not only did the two girls that got taken up to the room get fucking drugged, one of them got raped, the other one broke an arm, trying to get away from the guy who was belligerent as fuck. Oh, by the way, they're trying to press charges. Nope, we can't have them do that. We can't have them press charges. We have to make it right. Well, if we'd have thought about it 30 minutes ago before it had happened and intervened like we were supposed to, none of this would have happened, Nope, we got to sweep it under the rug. It's got to be a thing. You can't have it happen. You got to do something else about it. And by the time the cops get there and the cops get involved, at that point, you're like, well, that's a lawsuit. Nope, we're just gonna do all this other stuff. We're not gonna have it's not even gonna get to the legal proceedings. Don't even worry about it. Yada yada yada. And then 2 days later, you and the 8 other people that were technically involved with that get a gag order and are basically told, nah, fam, there's nothing we can do. We settled out of court. There's no news coverage. And now the two girls have to deal with that trauma for the rest of their life. And I'm like, bro, I'm out. Like, that, the convention, the people that run these events have to be held to the same accountability standards as the hotel, as the venue, as the players, as everybody. Everybody has to be accountable. Everybody has to be accountable. I cannot preach that enough. I don't care if you're running the tournament or if you're a guy that just showed up to go 0-2, or if you're a guy that just showed up to go to the dealer's room and watch anime in, the rooms for like 5 hours. Every single one of those individuals has to be held accountable for their actions, regardless of how they are. If they are partaking in the event, they must be held to the same accountability standards across the fucking board. That is the only way this shit gets fixed. Period.
Mark, let's get your input now. I'm sure you have a lot on your mind that Jan probably hasn't already said.
Before we do that, I just want to take a moment to note that known PewDiePie mutual and racist shitbag Stefan Molyneux has been suspended from Twitter. So rest in piss, you bald fucking racist piece of shit.
I'm sorry. Wait, who got banned from Twitter?
Stefan Molyneux. A guy who once said that having a biracial baby fucked their brains up.
Good. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, no, he is the biggest fucking piece of shit going today. Yeah. I'm glad he's fucking gone. Ripping fucking piss, you piece of shit. you fucking racist, sexist douchebag, etc., etc. Go to hell. Anyway. So, here's the thing, right? I mentioned this the last time, but when we were going through the whole situation as it relates to people speaking out about the negative activities in professional wrestling that were going on, and I watched, a friend of mine, a guy who I respected as a writer, who I respected as a talent, go through this. I was filled with a lot of conflicting sort of opinions, and just after a while, it's just sort of become, no, fuck you. When more people have come out about a person than have come out against fucking Bill Cosby, no, you're a fucking monster. Fucking rest in piss.
Yep.
But, here's the thing, at the end of the day. I know that there are always conversations when this sort of thing happens about false accusation this, and, innocent until proven guilty that. But look, I'm going to be clear with you, okay? If one person specifically comes out against you, I can kind of sort of understand where maybe you might want to put that flag up. I do think that it is generally very detrimental to people who make these sorts of accusations to an extent such that I am loath to believe that most people would want to do it. Because, it ruins your fucking life if you make this kind of an accusation. If you come out publicly and you say, this person did this thing to me, that's going to follow you around for the rest of your natural life. Look at fucking Monica Lewinsky. Her life still sucks. A decade later, 2 decades later, over what happened with her. I do not, generally speaking, think that there is a compelling reason to come out against somebody falsely because of how much of a miserable fucking scenario it makes your life afterward, in most cases. But if you've got 2, 3, 5, 10 people against somebody, I'm sorry, fuck you. Just, I don't care about innocent until proven guilty at that point. It's pretty goddamn difficult to prove sexual assault, to prove rape, to prove those sorts of things in a court of law. If you have 10 fucking people, if you have 20 fucking people showing up and they're saying, this person fucking scarred me for life because of the shit that they did, sorry, you fucking ruined a person's life. And if you can't even appropriately apologize for this, if you're like, well, some people may have been hurt by the things that I did, and I never meant to hurt anybody. And like, get the fuck out of here. Absolutely get the fuck out of here. The fact of the matter is that a lot of the stuff that I've seen coming on in the fighting game community, I'm not a part of the FGC in any meaningful way, but what I've seen just in general seems to follow the same basic pattern of people who are good at a very specific thing that a very small select group of people appreciate suddenly find themselves in a position where they were never really popular before, and they're suddenly very popular now. They exert their popularity, their authority, their power that they have in a way that directly hurts other people because they now have that authority to do it. You see this happen basically in any position where somebody can have a degree of power. Like Magic the Gathering has had multiple artists banned for grotesquely exerting their power on people. We've had multiple streamers banned for grotesquely exerting their power and authority over people. It's literally just a case of, I have power now, people are interested in me, so you're gonna do what I fucking say. You're gonna look at my weird dick whether you want to or not. You know, it's
God.
it's fucking terrible. And like, I want to be clear, you know, there's people of all genders being torn down in this, and fuck all of them. There is one other thing I want to say, and it's not a popular conversation, but it is something that I think needs to be mentioned here. I was talking about this with Mr. J. Rose, my artist friend. There is a very distinct difference between somebody who has had the sort of thoughts that would be construed as pedophilic and somebody who acts on them. If you wake up one morning and you're like, you know, I want to do things with a minor, and you're not a minor, that's gross. If you then immediately go, I need to fucking get help because this is not the way that I'm supposed to be. This is not correct. I should not be doing this. Like, I don't think, you know, you should be, you know, thrown in a fucking pit where you get the shit beaten out of you, because you acknowledge that what you're thinking is wrong. You don't have really a say in it. It's just the way that your brain is doing it, and you're actively going out of your way to fix yourself. It is only once you get to the point where you're like, no, I'm going to inflict this on somebody else, fuck you, that it's like, nah, rest in piss. Fucking throw yourself into the sea. So it's, if you are at a point where you are actively going out of your way, like you know that you have these thoughts, you know that you have this kind of feeling about it, and you go out of your way to resolve it in some capacity or another, whether it be through counseling, through therapy, through medication, through whatever, please keep doing that. Please understand, like, you are doing the best possible thing you can do for yourself. Don't hurt another person. You know, thank you for taking that sort of control and making sure that you don't inflict yourself upon another person. But it's just fuck, man. Like, if you feel the need to fucking hurt a person, regardless of in what way you do it, just fuck off. I don't care what fucking community you're a part of. You're a piece of shit.
Okay. I don't exactly know how to end the episode now, because there's really no positive way to end it on such a note like this.
There's absolutely a positive way to end it. Rest in fucking piss, Stefan Molyneux, you piece of shit.
All right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, our show comes to a close. Before we say goodnight, though, however, let's go around the table once more. Jan, what have you got going on in the future?
Pretty much the standard schedule for me. I'm normally streaming Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to about 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time, over on my channel. I'm variety stream. I'm finally finishing up Final Fantasy VII Remake after a couple of weeks off because of the corona. I'm actually going to be starting my very first playthrough of Subnautica tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And
I'll probably watch that. I have that on my wish list on Steam.
fair enough. And then other than that, I don't have any specific details, but I think there's supposed to be both an Uno and a Mahjong collab starting here soon as well. So we'll see how that works out.
Woohoo! All right. Hey, Spencer, what have you got going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Mondays we do the vampire campaign live on my channel. Mark is our storyteller. We have a group of myself and 5 other players that we get together and role play out a session for vampire. We put it up on podcast platforms and YouTube later in the week. If you missed the live episode, you can still check it out. Other than that, this week, tomorrow, I am planning to play a game called Daymare 1998. I'm sorry. It is very, very heavily inspired by Resident Evil 2. So I was lucky enough to receive a copy of that to check out. So we're going to check that out. And then next week, hopefully, nothing goes wrong and there's no shipping issues. But I should have Deadly Premonition 2 in my hands.
Hey!
We will see how that stacks up with the first one. Because I loved the first one, the quirks and all. I loved that game.
All right, and Mark be writing. What's coming up, sir?
I'm going to try and stream this weekend. Probably more Vampire. I haven't figured it out. Bloodline specifically. But otherwise, as Spencer mentioned, I run a Vampire the Masquerade campaign with him and several other folks. Mallet Editor, Rab TDK, Sodomi, Stairbender, and Ixer over at twitch.tv/Mr. Pure Instinct. So if you enjoy watching tabletop games, feel free to check that out. Beyond that, I don't really got much of anything going on, honestly. Just kind of playing video games and existing.
Woohoo! All right, as for me, I don't really have anything major to stream this Sunday, but on, let's see here, the 19th, that is the next Virtua Fighter online bi-weekly, and that'll be the Xbox 360 one that I will be running. Next Sunday, I'll probably stream some random thing, as well as on Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday of next week as well, because there's no GVN live next Tuesday. It'll be on, the next one will be on the 21st. I am currently making my way through Trials of Mana Remake, so I'll probably stream some of that. I've been meaning to.
Comes out tomorrow.
What's that?
Alatreon comes out tomorrow.
Alatreon? Oh, yeah, Alatreon comes out. I would have to say this 2-month break from Monster Hunter has really kind of killed my spirit of playing it. I'll probably get back into playing it at some point. I'm also taking a break from Phantasy Star Online 2 so I can catch up on my backlog. I'll probably stream some of that. I got a bunch of games I have to... Oh, we lost Mark.
We lost Mark.
It happens.
Uh-oh.
Everything is diagonal. What have we done?
Oh,
There, he's back.
Welcome
there
back.
he is.
Wrong button. I was trying to
It's fine.
in my Discord, and I accidentally connected to my Discord. That was stupid.
All right, and yeah, so I got some backlog games I'm going to try and play. Maybe I'll try and stream some. Like I beat Resident Evil 3 earlier this year. I want to beat Resident Evil 2. I haven't touched it yet, but I would like to try it. Maybe get back into finally picking up Shenmue 3. I should have beaten that game by now, but like I told you guys, I went through a month-and-a-half long depression spell for some reason at the end of last year. So that's it for GVN Live. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I want to thank everybody for being on the show today. And to everybody out there, thank you and good night.